What up, peeps? We are back and talking MLB The Show 22's big announcement, and that's the addition of the online co-op mode, which I think is a great addition to the show, and I'm going to break down all of the information that we know about this mode. And thanks to Chase Bacati, who has an article on Operation Sports that gives us a nice breakdown of what we can expect in this mode with some additional details. So right off the bat, you and your friends will be able to play 2v2 and 3v3 in MLB The Show 22's online co-op mode. And what I think is pretty major, and we already saw the progress being made last year with this in MLB The Show 21, and online co-op, this feature will be cross-play enabled and will feature cross-platform functionality, which is really dope. So similar to last year, whether you play on Xbox or PlayStation, you will be able to play together. And as I mentioned, this is all playable in co-op, which has already been confirmed, so this is really exciting. I also want to note that you can either join with one friend or one random, or you can do a full friend game. So that'll fill up the roster of 3 people, which I think is a nice mix to have the option to pick up a random. Say if down the line we find out that playing with 3 teammates online versus 2 may add some additional value. I mean, only time will tell. But overall, picking up an additional random, and we'll get into the communication as far as communicating in co-op down the line, but it's a pretty good option. So when you get your team together, and for this example, say you're playing 3v3, one player handles the pitching and catching, one handles infielders, and the other one handles outfielders. Also, don't get too comfortable in these roles because the roles for all 3 players will change between innings. So basically, you can't lock into a role so you're always pitching or an outfielder, for example. Everyone will have to do everything at some point in the game. And I kind of like this from a balance standpoint in general. Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm the type of individual that would love to pick and play one role and just kind of master that role, like, hey, I'm the master at pitching or managing the infield. But I could see how this could get problematic against certain individuals whose skill levels are just ridiculous. So mixing it up would seem like a good solution, and I guess we'll see how this all works when the game releases. Communication will be another big thing online, as I was talking about earlier, especially for those who either decide to not use a headset or just don't have one. So there's been a new emoji wheel that has been added to the game where you can issue some commands and give your teammates a heads up on what your next move might be, kind of game plan and play around with different commands and try to get on the same page. There will also be a suggestions option wheel that will do something very similar. This suggestion looks to be similar to how a user would pick a pitch and pitch location, with the addition of now the suggestion will show up on the screen. And the good thing is your teammates will be able to see this and kind of get an idea of where the next pitch should go. This could be another nice indicator. Not only can you receive the suggestion, but it will also be visible to you and your teammates, everybody working together and making the right calls to try to make a play. When it comes to making changes on the mound, the captain will have complete control of this. So things like warming up your pitchers and making any other managerial changes. And I also want to note it sounds like the first person in the lobby will become the captain by default, but it seems like you will have the option of reassigning captain to one of your teammates before the game begins. So if you don't want to be stuck being captain, or you want to own those responsibilities, that decision could be made between you and your teammates before the game begins. Now let's move on to hitting. During the course of the game, you will cycle through a user with each at bat. If you get a hit, you will control your base runner until your time at the plate comes up again. You'll need to cover first base if you're the pitcher, or be the cutoff man when you're controlling the infielders. And all this makes sense when playing co-op. I definitely understand why they kind of went this route to kind of balance out the responsibilities for each player, so that's really good. Now let's talk about co-op and Diamond Dynasty mode. So when it comes to Diamond Dynasty and online co-op, you will do your draft, but you won't draft the full 26-man roster. Each player online will have a certain number of picks, and this is all based off on whether you are playing 2v2 or 3v3. So if you're playing 3-on-3, you pick 2 position players, so 1 starter, 1 reliever, or 2-on-2, you will pick 3 position players, 2 relievers and 1 starter. And from there, the rest of your roster will be filled in with randoms. When it comes to your Diamond Dynasty teams and your teammates, they will be combined into one draft pool. You will select any specific players from your own Diamond Dynasty collection. In addition, whatever parallel level you pick will be the version you get in the game. So for example, if you don't have a parallel 5 Joe Mauer, you will actually get to play that one if your teammate drafts him. So all parallel boosts will come from the player who chose that card at the beginning of the game. And I think that's really dope, and I love this from a collaboration standpoint with the draft. It just brings out another element of a strategy to playing online. I think this is really good. And to add to communication, full voice and text will be enabled so you and your teammate can discuss any draft selections carefully. Good stuff. And in this screenshot, your captain will set up the lineup. From there, you pick from one of the starting pitchers. I want to note that this part of the process is random, so cross your fingers and hopefully the pitcher you are leaning towards gets to start. And to wrap it up, let's talk about the Diamond Dynasty matchmaking. And it sounds like at launch, you will only be able to matchmake with randoms. So if you're looking to challenge specific individuals, you may have a certain rival out there. This will not happen at launch, but potentially this is something that could be added down the line. And that's it, peeps. Let us know what you think in the comments, and I really like the features that they have added. I feel like if you're going to add co-op, you want to make it collaborative. I think they are definitely leaning in that direction. Everything from the draft, from pulling your Diamond Dynasty cards together, to rotating the roles during the course of the game, to the communication, adding the emoji wheel and suggestions. If you're going to do co-op, definitely these little additions that they've added are just going to enhance that experience. It's going to make it feel collaborative. Winning is going to feel like that team effort. And I feel like in my head they've nailed that. Now we have to see how that plays out, but I think this is headed in a really good direction. And Ari, let us know what you think. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and we will be back with more sports gaming news. And you know what it is. Until next time. Yeah.